She stared at him through her wet eyelashes as her tears are threatening to fall. A devilish smirk played on his lips when he noticed the fear on her face. He grabbed her wrist and dragged her toward the bed and threw her. She turned her face, looked at him, but her breath got hit after seeing his face closer to her. He took off his coat before throwing it somewhere on the room. He cracking his neck bone before coming closer to her. She can see the lust into his eyes for her. She quickly tried to get up from the bed before her feet touched the ground. He grabbed her wrist and pinned her into the bed. She struggled into his grip, but her all efforts are nothing in front of his muscular body. He hovering over her petty figure and looked straight into her eyes with his burning pair of eyes. "Jungkook, you think I can let you go so easily after what you did, my bird?" Leaning down, he traced his nose on her jawline before planting some torturing kiss on her collarbone. "Vayun, please, please let me go. I want to go from here, please." She tried to control her emotion, but her tears are not in her control. He tilted his face, running his tongue on his bottom lips, like her taste gave her the pleasure of heaven. She stayed silent while he pressed his body more closer to her, so she can't move under him. "Jungkook, I can't let you go ever from me, because now you belong here with this devil. You are my trophy after what I suffer from." Vayun sobs. I am not your slave. I'm living human. You can't cage me into your golden prison." He let out evil chuckle, sending shiver down to her body. "Jungkook, what are you saying? You're not my slave, right?" "But you're wrong, bird. Now you are in my bed, under me. It's in my hand. Do or kill you. I'm evil. I will ruin you in every way possible. To think about mercy from me, it will be your highly mistake." Tears flowed down from the corner of her eyes when he put pressure on her wrist. He came closer to her eyes and licked her tears with his tongue. She tightly closed her eyes and tried to push him away, but he twisted her wrist, which is painful for her. She stopped moving and he traveled his fingers around her face. She held her breath and looked straight into his eyes. "Jungkook, why are you doing this to you? Like you have any idea what I can do with you right now? Your beauty is already giving me a hard time." In his dominating voice, he came closer to her neck and snuggled his face into the crook of her neck and forcefully leave a love bite on her neck. She quietly bared that pain and let him do what he wanted, but inside she were broken, because she know now there is no other way left, that she run away from his hell. "Jungkook, bird, you taste amazing." A silent tear left from her eyes. He looked at her with his lustful eyes, and without wasting any more seconds, he smashed his lips on her and kissed her like a hungry beast. But she did nothing in return, which made him more angry. He stopped and looked at her with his burning eyes. "Jungkook, I think you accept your fate and surrender yourself to me, right?" She looked at him with her full of tear eyes. "Vayun, no, never. Till my last breath, I will never be yours." Jungkook smirked. "Okay, so let me incorrect you. You are this misunderstanding that you will be not mine?" She looked at him with full of anger. "Jungkook, I have a surprise for you." He took out his phone and played the audio message. She listened a woman scream. First she did not get it, who is it? But after listening her name from her, she got it, who is this? She got panic and quickly walked toward him and grabbed the phone from his hand. "Vayun, auntie. But then she noticed it was a voice message. She looked at him with full of angry eyes and grabbed his collar and pinned him into the wall. "Vayun, why are you doing this? Tell me what you want from me, huh? Speak from your shitty mouth." He come surprised and seen her as attitude and grabbed her from her waist and pinned her toward the wall. Jungkook, "Wow, a girl who was helpless under me somehow get the so much courage to talk to me like this, huh? He gritted his teeth and come closer to her face. His heartbeat touching his cheek, she took deep breath and looked straight into his eyes. Vayun, let her go. She did nothing with you. Jungkook, okay, but in one condition. She frowned her brows like how he got angry so quickly. He walked toward the drawer and take out the file and gave it to her. She take this file from his hand and after reading it, what inside of it, she looked at him with full of angry eyes, like it is possible she will kill him today with her both hands. Vayun, how much disgusted you are. What the fuck is that? You think I'm that kind of a person who follow your orders? He smirked. Jungkook, I know you're not, but you have to be that person if you want to see your auntie alive. She frowned her brows. Vayun, what you mean? Jungkook, she is with my guards, and just my one call, and without wasting any more second, they will take her life. So now it's in your hand if you want to see her alive or not. Vayun, no, you can't do this. Leave her. Jungkook, then sign this paper right now. A devilish smirk appeared on his lips, and he opened his shirt top 3 buttons and fold his sleeves and come closer to her ear and whisper. Jungkook, stop wasting my time, bird. It's getting harder for me to not kill her. And what if I change my mind? Huh? And kill? Before he complete his words, he paused and looked at her eyes. A silent tears dropped from her eyes, and the death of her father hurt her memory. And now she is not ready to lose another member of her family. He come closer to her and sniff her fragrance. Jungkook, now there is no turning back. You don't have any choice left, bird. Vayun, please don't do this. Jungkook, now you have to be my slave. Only this can save your dear aunt, my bird. With trembling hands, she take the file into her hands and signed the papers. He, winning smirk, appear on his lips, and he take the file from her hands and check her signatures. Jungkook, so finally you are my officially slave now. She become quiet because she write her own fate with the devil, and now she have to face his torture till her last breath. He placed the file into the nightstand and walked toward her. He roamed his eyes on her figure and whispered into her ears. Jungkook, slave, strip now. Her eyes got wide open in shock. Vayun, no, never. In trembling voice, Jungkook, bird, now there is no turning back. You have to follow the rules. You did not read the contract? Tears left from her eyes and she looked down. He come closer to her face and his heartbeat touching her skin and sent cold shiver into her spine. She closed her eyes and tied her grip around her shirt edges. Jungkook, now. He slowly slid his hand toward her face before gently grabbed her chin. She looked toward his dark, burning eyes with her two eyes. Internally she is screaming with his closeness, but she is trying her best to act strong in front of him. Jungkook, you are young and beautiful, my bird. Now it's time to satisfy your master. She gulped her lump into her dry throat after hearing his word, but inside she know now there is no turning back. If she want to see her aunt alive, she have to follow his order. She turned her face into the other side, trying to get away from his grip, but suddenly he grabbed her jaw harshly, making her twitch in pain. Jungkook, don't you dare to walk away if you don't want me to tear your dress into pieces, and you so hard that your scream will echoing into the whole mansion. Vayun, what I can expect from the man like you. Jungkook, good. So now, stop wasting my time and do what I said. He loosens his grip from her and take 2 steps backward. Jungkook, now do it and want your eyes on me. She opened her tearful eyes and looked straight into his dark eyes. With trembling hands, she opened her shirt buttons and take it off The shirt slightly slipped from her body and landed into the floor. She stopped because now she was only in her lingerie. "Jungkook, take it off." Tears rolled down from her cheeks. "Why you? Please, don't do this. I beg you." Jungkook smirked. "Then beg properly on your knees." She looked at him with her doe eyes and followed his order what he said. Like a slave, she sit into the knees. "Why you? Please." Jungkook smirked. "Come now." She get up and follow his orders, and next moment she stand in front of him. He leave no gap in between them and roam his eyes around her figure. "Jungkook, you're..." Then my thought. She did not say a word and still looking toward the floor. His stares on her body was so intense that she can feel it around her figure. He leaned his face closer to her, brushing his nose on her neck where he left the bite. Goosebumps covered her skin as she frozen at the spot. It was just a fear in her for him. "Jungkook, welcome to my hell, my bird," she hissed when he suddenly put his hand on her waist and put pressure on her finger, which gave her a pain, and with a jerk he pulled her body closer to her and kissed her badly like she is medicine for his burning heart. She tried her best to push him away from her, but it was no use when he pinned her hand on the back of her body. Jungkook broke the kiss. "If you accept it or not, but now you belong to me till your last breath. So stop struggling." She looked at him with tearful eyes. He take out his phone and call someone. "Jungkook, leave her, let her go." All the time his burning gaze on her, but she were lost into her thoughts. He cut the call and hold her chin. He looked at her and suddenly he grabbed her hair into his fist, make her look at him. "Jungkook, never try to be smart with me, bud. If you try to meet with anyone or try to run away from here, then I will show you the real hell in this world. Get this thing in your mind." After saying this, he left her and pushed her away. She sat into the floor and a silence filled into the air after when he left the room. Only a heavy breathing is the thing can hurt into the dark room. While she sat into the floor and cry out of her heart, "Why you? I lost everything today, Dad. Everything." Her tears full and screams are not listened by anyone. Her life is now darker like the night and her soul is captured by the devil. He come into the nightclub where Jimin trying to talk to him about her. "Jimin, Jungkook, why are you doing this with her?" While Jungkook is puffing cigarette and releasing smoke into the air, he tilted his head, looking into the ceiling, exhaling the smoke through his mouth before gulping at the Adam apple, bobbed up and down. "Jimin, please talk to me. At least tell me why her." "Jungkook, she is my cure. That's why she is with me." Curve his brows. "Jimin, cure?" "Jungkook, I want to give my all pen to her until I start feeling happy, and then I will throw her away from my life and let her live into the world with nothing." Jimin smirked. "And you think that is right?" Jungkook, "Yes, it's right. For a girl like her, she deserves all the pain in this world." Jimin, "Really? If it's make my friend happy, then do whatever you want. But remember, in this hate, don't try to do something wrong that give you regret for your whole life." Jungkook, I know what I'm doing," he replied, uninterested, cracking his neck bone. He entered the room where his eyes landed on Wayun, who is searching for her clothes into his wardrobe. He walked toward her with full of anger and held her wrist tightly into his fist. She flinched after watching him and shouted at her, "Jungkook, what the hell are you doing here? Why you touch my things without my permission?" Wayun, because I don't have anything to wear. That's why." She spoke into her troubling voice. He looked at her with his dark eyes. Jungkook, "Oh, so Princess wants rest, right? Then let's go. Let's having a shopping today." She flinched after hearing his angry voice, but then she focused on his words when he dragged her toward outside from the room. She frowned her brows in tension because she were only in a towel, which wrapped around her chest on the thigh. Vayun, listen to me. Listen, please. He walked toward the main entrance, but before he take the next step out from the house, she held the curtains for support and hold his hand tightly and shout his name. Vayun, Jungkook, stop. He stopped after listening his name. She looked at him with her doe eyes and whispered, Vayun, I'm sorry. Please, look at me. Don't take me outside like this, please. Then he roamed his eyes around her figure. Jungkook, so what you want, my slaves? She closed her eyes and tried to walk away from him. But before she took the next step, he grabbed her wrist and pulled her closer to him. Jungkook, why are you so hurried, bird? Your punishment is not decided yet. She looked at him. Vayun, but what I did? What you are punishing me for? Jungkook, shh, I am your master and you don't have a right to ask a question. Vayun, but before she say another word, he dragged her toward the kitchen and pinned her toward the counter. Jungkook, my little slave, before I came down, I want my breakfast on the table, and if you not, then your punishment will be worse than your imagination. So, just do what I said. Then he looked at the side and took the remote of the AC into his hand, and before going, he turned on the AC into the cold mood. She looked at him without saying a word, and he walked toward his room. She wiped her tears and tried to be strong in front of him. She promised to herself that she will be not his puppet. She will face his all punishment but never surrender herself to him. So the time got past, and after a few minutes he came down from the stairs and watched his breakfast is already on the table. He walked toward the table and sat on the chair, but suddenly her eyes landed on Vayun, who is still just busy into her work. But somehow his eyes got stuck into her stunning looks, got his attention. He lost completely into her. Her wet hairs, red cheeks, little cute figures, half-covered body in towel was making her hot and cute in equal time. He completely lost in her, and she even not aware about his presence. Suddenly, she felt someone's presence around her back. Her heartbeat caught her eyes in fear. She turned around to face that person, but her eyes got met with the bigger fear, the devil of her nightmare. She flinched and took 2 steps back, but he came closer to her. He tilted his head at the sight of her, a devilish smirk placed on his lips when he noticed the fear on her face, which she trying to hiding from his eyes. But he was wicked to point it out. Jungkook, why my little slave is looking so afraid, huh? She slowly tried to walk away when he grabbed her wrist and pinned her against the counter with his body. She looked down and tried her best to not look toward his eyes. Vayun, stay away with me, please. She tried to push him away with her tiny hands, but her struggles is nothing in front of his bare body. She struggled to get out from his grip. Jungkook, bird, you can't win from me, then why are you even trying? You have to be used to it. He traveled his finger slowly on her shoulder. She shrugged her hand away from her body and looked at him with full of angry eyes. Vayun, you are disgusting. He let out a dark chuckle, placing his face closer to her, while she leaned backward. Jungkook, there's no doubt at that you make me do this to you. Now it's getting hard for me to stay away with you. So now, let's having a breakfast together, bird. He healed her wrist, but she tried to push him away. But suddenly, he looked at her with his burning red eyes. Jungkook, don't try to push me away. You can't win over me. So, be a good girl. Jungkook, Vayun, leave me alone, please. She tried to hit on his chest, but he did not budge. Suddenly, he put his hand on her thigh and threw her on his shoulder and picked her up like a rag doll. He wrapped his hand around her legs, but she keeps struggling on his shoulder. She tried her all efforts to get out from his grip, but into the end, it got no result. He sit under the chair and make her sit on his lap and wrap his hand around her wrist. Internally, she was screaming for help, but now she is alone here with this devil. "Jungkook, feed me with your hands, my slave." She tried to get up from his lap, but suddenly he tightened his grip around her waist and looked straight into her eyes. "Jungkook, you want me to explore your pretty mouth again, huh?" He rolled his eyes on her lip and cursed with his finger slowly, but she shrugged his hand away from her lips and tried to get up from his lap. But before her feet touched the ground, he grabbed her wrist and held her jaw. "Jungkook, don't try to play hard on me. Girl, you don't have any idea how much bad I can do with you. Why you? This is what I can expect from the man like you. You're a disgusting person I've ever seen in my whole life." He gritted his teeth and without wasting any more second, he smashed his lips on her and kissed her like a hungry beast, dominatingly, aggressively, like he's from the air, hungry for that. He don't give her a chance to breathe and make her body closer to her. She slapped on his chest, wanting to break the kiss, but he is too lost to care about her. She bit on his lips, making him strong, breaking the kiss, both of them breathing heavily. Unknowingly, she put her hand on his shoulder and placed her hand on his chest. She tried to consuming all the oxygen that they missed for the heated long kiss. He smirked after seeing her defeated under his embrace. He slowly ruffled her hairs and whispered, "Jungkook, so it's looked like my little bird is tired only from this small kiss. Then what you will be do when you on the bed? Bird, huh? You need to be strong for this time." She looked at him with her tearful eyes. He slowly rubbed her tears and whispered, "Jungkook, I'm hungry bird. Feed me if you don't want another round." With her trembling hands, she was about to feed him, but suddenly his eyes landed on his phone. He checked the message and looked at her. "Jungkook, I like when I see fear into your eyes. It's the only thing I want to see in your eyes, my bird. But it's a wrong timing. I wish I can torture you more, but right now I'm getting late. But at night, we will continue again. Okay, my bird?" After some time, he loses his grip around his waist and she get up and get the chance and quickly run away from her. And an unknown smirk appear on his lips after seeing her running figure. She ran toward the room and closed the door behind. She wiped her tears aggressively, trying to wipe his touch from his lips. Tears flowed down from her eyes, but slowly everything is turning dark and she fainted to the floor. He entered to the torture room and started beating one of his men mercilessly. He take out his all anger on him. "Jungkook, why the hell you betrayed me?" He stabbed a knife into his hand. A painful scream echoed into the room. "Jungkook, this is what you will get after betraying me." While devilish smirk plastered on his lips like a psycho, he looked at him with his bloodshot eyes. Then he shifted his deadliest gaze toward his guard. "Jungkook, torture him until he begged for the death." Guard nodded their head as yes, and he came out from the room. Then he came to his office from the secret room and entered to his office. He wiped the blood from his hand. Suddenly a knock on the door got his attention. "Jungkook, come in, Jimin." "So, you got him? Like, he say anything?" Jungkook, "No. He's a loyal dog of his master." Jimin, "Okay, I want to tell you something really important." Jungkook, "What?" He frowned his brows. Jimin, "Actually, after when fire got over, our guards visit that mansion and they found something that they don't found the body of Hwang." He looked at the Jimin with his bloodshot eyes. "Jungkook, what the hell are you saying?" "I killed that with my own hands. How it can possible?" He shouted on him. "Jimin, it's true, but maybe he's injured very badly and I know he will be looking for you. He know that his daughter is with you. He tied his fist and punched on the glass table, and soon it got break into the pieces with loud noise. Jungkook, how it got happen? How this is still alive? Jimin, Jungkook, try to control yourself. Watch, your hand is bleeding. Jungkook, no. Jimin, this is nothing in front of the scars who he give me into my soul. I can't let this live to this world. Find him, hire our all trusted man, and tell them to look out for him everywhere. And remember, without you and me, I don't want anyone will know about this. Jimin, okay. He entered the mansion and walked toward his room. He aggressively opened the door, but before he take out his all anger on her, she found her body lied onto the cold floor. He curved his brows and walked toward her. He held her face into his hand and slightly tapped for a moment to wake her up. Jungkook, why you get up? Come on, open your eyes. After getting no response, he called the maids and told them to call the doctor. After a few minutes, the doctor entered the room and checked her. Doctor, Mr. Jeon, she is faint because of weakness. I think she is not focusing on her diet. I'm giving you some medicines. Please take care of her. After saying this, she left the room. Then he called the maids. Jungkook, behind my back, did she eat anything? Tell me. Maid, no sir. Actually, there is something I want to tell you. Actually, grandfather tell us that don't give her meal until she starved to death. Jungkook, that's mean she did not eat anything from last 3 days? Maid, yes sir. He took deep breath, tried to control on his anger. Jungkook, okay, behind my back, you have to take care of her. And if anything happened to her, the first person I will kill from my hands, it will be you. Remember, after threatening her, she bowed and left the room. He silently stood near the bed and looked at her for a moment. Her pale face has fingerprints on her wrist and her puffy eyes. Her condition is now getting bad day by day. He slowly started to unbutton his shirt before throwing into the sofa, leaving his upper body naked. He took some calculated steps and sat beside her. Take the tube of ointment into his finger and slowly apply into her wrist. After finishing his work, he walked next side of the bed and sit. The mattress deepened when he got into the bed before getting under the duvet carefully. His hand sneaked inside her towel and removed slowly from her body and throw it away into somewhere because still she is having a high fever. He pulled her body closer to his warm skin and hugged her into his embrace. Before looking at her face, he tagged her some wet hairs straight into the back of her ear and moved his finger slowly on her jawline. The silence fell into the room. The moment was quiet, but now his heart speaking a lot more than his words. His rising heartbeat, sweaty hands, and craving for her touch is getting rising in him, which never happened before. Maybe it's because she is her slave, or just because of attraction. He even don't know, but somehow he wants her into his dark life. His stone heart is now wants to beat for her. This unknown attraction toward her are raising a lot of questions in him. His dark roaming eyes on her sleeping figure are making him crazy for her more. Jungkook, I want to be your nightmare who haunt you into your dreams, but I never want you to be my weakness. You will be always my slave, and I will be your master. My bird, welcome to the devil hell.